Hello everybody and welcome back to the second part in the Enstars bracket. So today we're going to be going over the bonuses that I mentioned last time, Alkaloid as well as Eden. So first off, let's start off by saying I love Alkaloid. They are one of my top, they're my top 5 for sure. Maybe, I think they're in my top 4 as well, because I would say my top 4 are Eden, Valkyrie, Alkaloid, and Knights. Those are my top 4. If I had to choose a 5th, honestly, I'm not sure at the moment, but those are definitely my top 4. And with that being said, there are 2 songs that I love so much to the point where if they weren't on there, I would be really mad. And I only got to, unfortunately, use 1-3 since Alkaloid does not have more than 10 songs. So I only got to vote for 1-3. I'm recording these within an hour of each other, so I didn't really do much more other than the fact... Because these 3 were already done. I already had the entirety of the first round completed as of the time that I'm recording this, as well as a little bit of the... I have all of Star Pro done for the second round as well. I'm currently waiting on the voting results for Eden, and I only know as of 1 song that is going to be on there just because of how many votes that it got. But I'm still awaiting on the rest of the tallied results, which I will probably find out by the end of this video. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into Alkaloid as this. So with our first one, we have Kiss of Life. Now, I have most of the OGs on here. Keyword being most, because I don't think I had... Oh yeah, I did. I had Rebellion Star and Only Your Stars. But yeah, I have most of the OGs on here. I don't think I have all of them, but I have a good portion of them. So with our next one, I will say this used to be my favorite song in the entire game, just because I loved the lyrics so much. I loved the melody, and the fact that it was one of the 2 not super... I guess 3 not super... like, intense songs, being this one and 2 others. Actually, all 3 of these made it on the list. So with that being said, this one is Tsubasa Moratorium. This by far used to be my favorite song, and it may still be up there. We'll find out, because by the end of this, we will have this narrowed down to 1 song. So, next up on this list, we have another one of the music songs, which are also one of the 3 slower songs. This is not one of the top 2 that I absolutely love in Alkaloid, although this would definitely make a close 3rd in terms of my favorite Alkaloid songs. Unfortunately, there are, like I mentioned earlier, not over 10. But Tsubasa Moratorium fits into my top 2 Alkaloid, as well as the 3 slower ones. This song fits in the 3 slower ones, which only narrows it down to 2 based off of what you may know. I mean, I guess it's not really slow, per se, but it's not super intense. With that being said, I really like the story, and this was one of the first... This is actually the first event song I ever actually got the 5-star card for. And so I guess that partially grew on me just because I listened. It was the first song that I actually really got into, I feel like. And I could be wrong about that, but this is the first song I believe I actually really got into. And so with that being said, we have the airship, or the Phantom Airship Specialty, Believe for Leaves. I love the story for this. This is still one of my favorite stories in the game that I've read so far, at least. Along with, I want to say the Crazy Anthem story as well. That was really good. I'm still, like I mentioned, in terms of stories, I've only read up to Harunohi Sugar Wave's story. I have not read every single Scout and or event story, but I've read a good portion of them. I've read, I believe, every single one of the 2nd unit songs, and in the 3rd ones I've read up to Harunohi Sugar Wave. I have read Crazy Anthem and Parallel Maze for the climax ones, and I have not read Relax Paradise, even though that's not, I mean, it's not technically a climax one, but yeah. I also have not read Or the Beautiful Golden Drop story. But I've read most of the other stories, not 100%, but like I said, Believe Four Leaves definitely takes that top 3, as well as Crazy Anthem. If I had to choose a third story to go with it, I would honestly maybe say, I don't know, I feel like none of the really other stories just clicked with me, I guess. A lot of them just felt similar, like they were just a random variety show that everyone was just talking for about random things for like half the story. Oh, actually it was the Akant story. Definitely the Akant story. For Valkyrie's Hermitage event. Oh, that was also really good. That would be my third. That would definitely be my third. Anyway, moving on, since I've been rambling on about Believe Four Leaves for a good amount, one thing I last want to say before we move on, actually, is the fact that I love the bridge of this song so much, to the point that I don't really know what I was about to say, honestly, about that, but the bridge is so good. I love the vocals. I love the fact that it slows down there, and just right before the bridge, we get a really long Mayo-y note that completely stretches out and has like a really good vibrato at the end of the note that just makes it so good. But then right after that, it just goes straight into the bridge, and I love it so much. I don't know. Anyway, this next song follows into my other one of the top 2 favorite Alkaloid songs, and this might have taken the spot over Tsubasa Moratorium. I'm not sure. I love this song so much. Whenever it came out, I wasn't even really huge into it. I loved it, but I didn't love it to the point where it was like one of my tops. I love this song so much though, and I feel like it fits Alkaloid so well, especially for being an event song, like a unit event song, which most of the time they take a different spin on the band or the unit. Like, taking Living on the Edge, for example, that's not really, or Believe Four Leaves, honestly. Taking on something that doesn't really feel like it is Alkaloid. It just doesn't really have that same feel, although the actual vocals still really fit well. Like, Ida's Living on the Edge works really well with his voice, as well as Tatsumi's. I feel like Tatsumi also sounds really good with this song. I don't know. I mean, then again, he is the 4-star, I think, so I guess that makes sense. But this third one, the third unit event song, Vermilion, is so good. It fits Alkaloid perfectly. The background makes it feel so just... I mean, it's supposed to feel like this because this is the Alice in Wonderland event, but it makes it feel such like the card soldiers that they represent in their unit, and I just love it so much. The background, the vocals, everything. And I'm not going to try to ramble on as much as I did with Believe Four Leaves, so I'm going to try to cut it off there before I get too far into it. But speaking of our other unit event songs, we have Living on the Edge. I already kind of went into this one, and I don't really have much to say about this. Our next one is a song that I didn't really... I mean, not the song itself, but the release that I didn't really understand. And the reason for this is because... the reason I didn't really understand this is because of the fact that... I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it is so I can kind of get into this, because I don't really know how to dance around it without actually telling you without the song. So this song is Hysteric Humanoid, and this will be the last Alkaloid song that has made it to round 2. And so with that being said, we're done with Alkaloid, but I do want to go into Hysteric Humanoid a little bit before we move on. So this song, along with Noisy Beep, for whatever reason got released as the Season 2 side song, or like, not side song, but like the extra song that came with it that wasn't actually a unit event song. It just came in the album as a secondary song. The thing that I don't get is why these two were released before the other 12, because these two were released alongside the first, what I like to call the expansion series, which basically what I mean by that is just whenever they release a bunch of single exclamation point era songs in one set. But this one, like when I'm referring to like Sugar Spice Hoteishiki, Raisanka, Kengeki no Mai, that series right there. Whenever they released Hysteric Humanoid and Noisy Beep, I was a little bit confused as to why they released these two. And then I went on JP and realized that they were in the process of releasing the other 12. And I was like, wait, why? Why are these two being released? Like, why are these two being released now, and the other 12 are going to be released 2 years later? Like, on EN, we still have a whole other set to get through for the secondary songs in the Climax album before we even start on the secondary songs for the second set, or for the second series, or whatever you want to call it. The second unit event song. I don't know. And so I was just confused as to why that happened. And I'm not really talking about the song at all, so we're going to actually get into this. Hysteric Humanoid itself is a great song. I really like the bridge and the way they go into the chorus, especially with that last line. The build-up for the chorus, I mean, I think the bridge is... well, at least the bridge from what I'm seeing in the song itself is the same as the pre-chorus, which sometimes they do that. Although, in the full version, there very much could be another bridge that leads into the pre-chorus. I'm not sure. I haven't heard Hysteric Humanoid's full version. I should probably listen to that. But the pre-chorus is so good. I love it so much whenever they shout out, like, the Y, and then go into a full burst of lyrics, and then another Y, go into a full burst of lyrics. I love it. I love that so much. And that's all I really have to say about Hysteric Humanoid, but if any of y'all know why, or have any theories on why they released Noisy Beat and Hysteric Humanoid before they did the other 12, just let me know in the comments. I would really like to know what you guys' theories are, or if you guys have a specific explanation that you actually know the answer for it. But with that being said, that'll be it for Alkaloid. So next up we have Eden, and this video's only been going on for about 11.5 minutes, so I should have enough time to get through all three of these, even with my extensive rambling. So starting off with Eden, I just want to say this used to by far be my favorite unit. Just because I really like their EDM style, while also taking part on other sides. Like, for example, taking Melting Your Soul. I mean, you could consider that EDM still, but, like, it's not on the same level as things like Dance of the Apocalypse or Raku and Suiho Faith Conquest. And then Deep Eclipse takes another spin on it, and that's by far used to be my favorite Eden song whenever it first came out. As I mentioned in the last video, whenever we went over Feathers of Arc, I used to love that song so much, to the point where, like, this used to be the SS event was by far my favorite event out of all of the events that I had seen so far, but that was also because I only really had ever done that one as a tour, and I had never really done any other events that go with the other series other than unit events. Because Deep Eclipse and Feathers of Arc were the only songs that I had really seen. And, I mean, at this point, we also have Dawning Angels and Twilight Pentagram as tours that also released songs that made it a big event. But obviously, we'll get to those much later, since those aren't technically a part of any unit. And so I'm trying to throw in a little bonus group every once in a while, which will be next after Eden. I just realized that Twilight Pentagram and Dawning Angels are literally a part of the bonus group that we're about to do, so yeah. So we will get to that in this episode, most likely. Unless I cut it off after Eden, since Eden does have a good amount of songs in their discography. So we'll maybe get into that, but we'll see. Anyway, starting off, I already mentioned how good the song is, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Deep Eclipse. I just want to say I love the fact that it starts out slow, because you don't really get that much from an Eden song. And then it just slowly builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up, and then you get to the chorus where it just goes full on, and it's so good. I love the song so much. The only Eden song I feel like I directly wish it was in EN for me to compare onto this is Absolute Perfection. Because other than that, I don't really know, at least haven't listened to the other ones enough. Like Sykes Butterfly and Encon No Refraction. I like Keep Out as well, but I feel like that I don't know that one as well. It's probably the second most known JP only Eden song as of now. But Absolute Perfection I really wish was on here, because I love that song so much. And it kind of goes with the same sort of rhythm as Deep Eclipse, you could argue, other than the instrumental breakout in the beginning, after that first little verse set. But then it goes slower in between each chorus, and I don't know why I'm talking about Absolute Perfection when I literally am not even comparing that right now. That'll be in a different series later on with the JP bracket. But anyway, Deep Eclipse. I love it. The only thing I don't understand is why they cut the second chorus short in the short, like the game size version. which is kind of interesting to me that they just simply made it like the first line and then the deep eclipse suit, or like I don't know why they did that, and then they didn't actually include the full chorus. I kind of wish they did that. I feel like they would have enough time to include like another 15 seconds in their song, considering I don't think it was as long as something like Konjiki Senya Yume Butai, which in the music video I believe runs like 3 minutes. But with the exception of the intro, I could argue maybe like 2:45, which, considering songs were about 2:30 back then, I think that would still arguably be able to add those like 2 or 3 lines in there. But still, I really love this song. Just the way they format it's really unique. Even though it's not a different, like, sort of genre, per se, for an Eden song, I just really like how unique they did with, like, the way they went slow, and then they went, like, faster, and it built up over the time through the song. I've only done one Eden song. This is a problem. Anyway, next song on the list we have is Ruby Love. I just realized I don't usually say this before the song, but whatever. Whenever this first came out, I used to not really be a huge fan. I mean, I used to like it, but not to the same level, I guess. I used to think Melting Rouge Soul was considerably, like, way better. And now I think Ruby Love is honestly the better of the two, if I'm being honest, because I think the way they sing the song is unique, even for something like Eve, because I feel like they add a lot more breathiness to the way they sing their lyrics sometimes. Whereas in something like Trap For You, they usually just utilize their higher voices rather than their breathy tone that they can do with something like Ruby Love. Which I might have to listen to it again. It may just be something that I'm misinterpreting, but yeah. Although with something like Sunlit Smile, I feel like they do something in between the both of them. Even though I feel like Sunlit Smile is honestly not saying it's bad, but I just don't like it as much as the other two Eve songs that already exist. And also I'm combining Eden, Adam, and Eve into the same bracket, just FYI, as you could probably have tell by now. But I just really like the song in general. I like the way that they implemented the same sort of style of a couple of the dance moves in both of the songs equally. Like for Melting Rouge Soul, whenever they would actually say, like, do the song call out, Melting Rouge Soul, deep inside your heart, as well as when Ruby Love was doing the Trip, Bloody Pink, Mad, Sensual Red. Whenever they do that section of the whole song, they did, like, the same dance move, which several people caught, but I feel like a few people didn't. But they do the same little dance move where they, like, stretch out their hand and, like, bend their leg and go one way, then the other. I don't really know how to describe it without actually showing you as an example, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of the video. Anyway, this song overall is great. I like the way that they did, instead of actually like a combined unit song like they did with the first two, I think it's interesting the way they spun on this, considering it is a unit song, but they aren't technically the unit. They did 2 separate songs, which I don't think has ever been done before with a unit event, at least. They've done it before, like I mentioned, with Feathers of Arc and Deep Eclipse with the SS Tour event. But other than that, I don't think they've ever done 2 songs in a unit event. And actually, this was only the second time they did 2 songs in an event whatsoever. Later on, we see that with Twilight Pentagram and Dawning Angels, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure these are the only 3 times that we get multiple songs from one event, and I'm not counting the Project Sekai collab, because technically King and Fragile aren't part of the event itself, they just got released alongside the event. Fusion is technically the only song that's in the event, if you get what I'm saying. Even though technically Project Sekai collab is not released for like another month or so on here. Anyway, I'm rambling on too far, so we're going to get on to the next song. I mentioned that we include most of the OG songs, and that event is still going... That pattern is going to stay the same here as well with the Genesis, if I can find it right here. I really love this song, and whenever I discovered the instrumental very recently, I was so happy because I love the instrumental for this, and actually singing along to the song is very enjoyable. This is one of those songs, whenever you have it without the instrumental, it's just not the same. Some songs you can still sing it without the instrumental and, like, picture it in your head and it still works fine, but the Genesis is unfortunately not one of those that you can do that with. especially whenever you're now relied on the instrumental and it's just something you love more about the song. Oh, and by the way, really quickly, I just want to mention on the track of instrumentals, I know it's been like 10 minutes since we've gone over this song, but back to Vermilion, I just want to mention the fact that the instrumental in Vermilion is so insane, it could completely stand on its own without even needing lyrics, especially in terms of the chorus. I was listening to the instrumental and I was just purely in awe of how intense it was compared to any other song. Like, it could completely stand on its own and be an entire song and work so well. The verses, yeah, sure, just have a little bit of like a drum beat, but still, the chorus, it's insanity. It's awesome. I love it. So next up we have Awakening Myth. This was the first level 31 song difficulty that I ever played. This was the first time I actually knew there was a level 31 difficulty song. But in terms of the actual song, because we're not getting into beat maps right now, because that doesn't actually matter really, even though we may talk about that in a few of the songs, but we will see. So in terms of Awakening Myth, I feel like this song went in a few different directions. So for one, I feel like it started off with a good English base. Like, the first whole paragraph was all in English in the first section. But then it came later on with the rap section, which I'm not complaining about. Eden does have some really interesting rap sections for a unit that's not really based around rap. And the only thing I will say is that we only have June and Ibara actually rapping, where the other two are just kind of doing their own thing, and I don't think the other two actually end up ever rapping. And the only time we really see Ibara rap outside of Eden is in Have You Been Naughty or Nice, I think, which is... Ibara is in that. June... What unit? Oh, June's in Fist of Soul. Is there a rap section in Fist of Soul? I don't know. I haven't listened to the full version. I'm pretty sure I heard someone say in the full version there was one, but I'm pretty sure in the game size version there was not. Anyway, but Awakening Myth has a really good verse. I feel like it just works well with the instrumental, and the way that it, like, calms down a little bit, and then goes up, and then just goes full-blown into the chorus. I really like the chorus instrumental as well. I feel like it works really well with the actual chorus, which I say that a lot, but yeah. It really does. And just the way that it has, like, a consistent pattern in the chorus with the instrumental, while also changing rhythms a couple of times with the lyrics. Like, you have the same set of notes over and over again, I think, in the chorus, but with the lyrics, it occasionally changes pace. Like, whenever they have, like, them going off one by one, and I'm talking about a specific paragraph in, like, the second half of the chorus, where they don't really do their same pattern that stays with the first half of the chorus, but I believe the instrumental still stays on that same pace, which I really like. Anyway, that's Awakening Myth for you. We are only halfway done with Eden, which is interesting. Now, next up, we have another song that does have a rap section in it. This took me a second to understand how the pacing was for it, especially with the last rap line, because it was slightly different from any others. But I will say, the actual way they spaced out the lyrics are really clever in this next song. Or not the lyrics, I mean the vocalists. The way they spaced it out, I really like. How they had two singers come in the beginning, which I believe were Jun and Ibara, and then later on they had Hiyori and Nagisa come in, but it wasn't just them two, and then the next two. One of them, I don't remember which one it was, but whenever Hiyori and Nagisa came in, there was one line where one of the original two came in and just sung a random line. I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Ibara, though. I could be wrong. But anyway, I really like the concept with that. And also the rap section was good, as I already mentioned. The chorus is also really good. And so is I guess... Now, this is one of those weird songs where you don't necessarily have a bridge in the game size version, because the rap section almost feels like the bridge, because the placement of it in the game size, even though I believe in the full version, the rap comes in the same place right after the first chorus, same as in Have You Been Naughty or Nice, even though they both almost feel like, in both songs, almost feel like a bridge. just because of the way it's placed, even though it's not technically the bridge. Although in the game size, you could consider it a bridge because the actual bridge isn't really there, I don't think. And like I said, I could be wrong. I haven't listened to the full versions. There's only a few songs that I have. So correct me if I'm wrong, please. And next up is the counterpart to the other two songs. I just realized that I didn't even add this song. Exceed! I didn't even tell what song it was, but I'm sure you guys have guessed what it was just by my endless rambling. Next up, we have the counterpart for the first song we mentioned. Actually, no, the second song we mentioned, which gives it away, but yeah. Melting Rouge Soul. I really like the vocals in this, and this is the first song we really get to hear Ibara go into, like, a really high note. Before we get to hear Hiyori go into a really high note, I mean, his voice is naturally high, but with Raku and Suiho Faith Conquest, we really do get to hear him hit that high note before the last chorus. And this is the same with Ibara, right before the first chorus, and then, I'm trying to think if either of the other ones really hit a high note, but not that I can think of off the top of my head. But I really like this song. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of things that I said about Melting Rouge Soul, I also mentioned about Ruby Love whenever that time came, so I'm going to leave it at that. Next up, another song I literally just mentioned, Raku and Suiho Faith Conquest. I really like the way that, like, in the last chorus, especially the way the vocals are distributed. Just because of this and one other thing I have to say about this song. The vocals are distributed really nice in the chorus because we have Hiyori kind of doing his own thing in the background. Nagisa, I believe, is the one who's just, like, kind of joining him a little bit and occasionally. Where Ibara and Jun are just, like, they're kind of singing the whole chorus by themselves. And Hiyori's just kind of, like, having fun in the background. And the other thing I have to say is in the verses, I really like how Adam and Eve split up in their own respective forms for each verse. I really liked how they did that instead of just keeping it simply with Eden. Since this was the first unit event song, I like how they did that, especially since it's something that hadn't been done before, and it's a good way to represent Eden on their first impression of a unit event song. The next song I have on this list used to be my favorite Eden song, like whenever I first heard it, just because I loved it so much, and I'm sure a lot of people could agree with me on this, because of a specific section of the song that I hear is very hyped up. I'm not necessarily saying the song is overrated, but I will say it is definitely not as good as it used to be, just because I feel like a lot of Live Fest songs, or I guess single exclamation point era songs, I feel like they got old after a while just because you hear them so many times to the point where they just lost their flair. And I'm not saying that happened with every Live Fest style song, but I am saying that did happen with Dance in the Apocalypse just because I heard this song so much, but I still love it so much. So with that being said, Dance in the Apocalypse. And our final song for Eden, or in this case, Adam, and I don't think I added any Live Fest Eve songs, because I didn't add Trap For You or Sunlit Smile. But anyway, this comes down to the last two. This was just a genuine decision that I had between The Beast of the End and Ruler's Truth, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to do, because I'd already eliminated the other two. Because actually, Ruler's Truth and The Beast of the End got even amounts of votes, so it was up to me to decide which one I wanted more, because I didn't personally vote for either of them. But it was up to me to decide which one I wanted, and it was a tough decision, since Adam's songs I didn't typically completely love. I didn't dislike them either, but I feel like the individual songs weren't as good as they were as a group. Although I do love the Adam songs for Live Fest better than I probably do for the Eve songs, except for maybe trying to do the chorus for Trap For You. The chorus for Trap For You I like. I just feel like I never really got into something like Sunlit Smile. I did for a bit, but like after like maybe a solid week, I just didn't really feel it anymore, I guess. It's one of those songs where I liked it whenever I first heard it, but it just lost its flair really quickly. But enough about Eve, we have Adam. And out of the two, I feel like The Beast of the End, I like certain parts of it better than others. Whereas Ruler's Truth, I like the entire song in even amount. So it's whether or not I want to compare like an 8 through certain parts and like a 5 to the rest of the song, or whether I want to have like a 6 throughout the entire song. And I'm gonna have to go with Ruler's Truth on this one. Just because I feel like I like the entire song at an even pace, whereas Beast to the End, the only parts I really like are the pre-chorus rap section, I feel like. And I'm not saying the song is bad, I just don't like it as good as the other ones. There's not really any songs in this game that I genuinely don't like. It's just I feel like the other songs are better, and a lot of these decisions were pretty tough to make, but they do have to be made. And unfortunately, some of these songs I really wanted to have in here, but unfortunately I couldn't put them in there. A couple songs that I wish I could have added into the ones that I have uneliminated so far being probably Trap for You, Distorted Heart, Your Speculation. I love Alkaloid, so I didn't want to eliminate any of them, to be honest. Koiwa Primavera and Miracle Dream Traveler. Oh, and maybe Heartbeater, honestly. Heartbeater's good. Alright, so now for the last section. This is getting to be a fairly lengthy video, so I don't know if I can really include this. And since I have a lot to say about these bonus songs, I'm probably going to leave my own slightly shorter video for that. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time for another episode of Enstars Bracket. Bye-bye.